Hello and welcome students. This is our second interaction for the topic entitled Methods in Educational Psychology. In our previous interaction session, we have already discussed subjective methods and some of the objective methods. In this interactive session, we will be discussing the rest of the objective methods. Third method is the psychoanalytic method. The founder of this method is Dr. Sigmund Freud. According to him, there are three levels of mental activity. They are the conscious, preconscious, and the unconscious. At the conscious level, individual can recall everything easily and behave with understanding. At the preconscious level, he recalls his experiences with little difficulty. But at unconscious level, he does not have any control over his own attitude, desires and feelings. Time and space do not have any control over the unconscious. Freud believed that people could be cured by making conscious their unconscious thoughts and motivations, thus gaining insight, which is the aim of psychoanalysis therapy. Objection to the scientific status of psychoanalytic data have been on the grounds that the psychoanalytic method was based in consulting room, not the laboratory, and produced a single case studies, not generalizable findings. Basic assumptions of psychoanalysis. Number 1, psychoanalytic psychologists see psychological problems as rooted in the unconscious mind. Number 2, manifest symptoms are caused by latent disturbances. Number 3, typical causes include unresolved issues during development or repressed trauma. Number 4, treatment focuses on bringing the repressed conflict to consciousness where the client can deal with it. Fifth, it is only having a cathartic, healing experience through which a person can be helped and cured. How to understand unconscious mind? In psychoanalysis therapy, Freud would have a patient lie on a couch to relax, and he would sit behind them taking notes while they told him about their dreams and childhood memories. Due to the nature of defense mechanism and the inaccessibility of deterministic forces operating in the unconscious, psychoanalysis is a lengthy process, often involving 2 to 5 sessions per week for several years. This approach assumes that the reduction of symptoms alone is relatively inconsequential. As if the underlying conflict is not resolved, more neurotic symptoms will simply be substituted. The analyst typically is a blank screen, disclosing very little about them in order that the client can use the space in the relationship to work on their unconscious without interference from outside. The psychoanalyst uses various techniques including number 1, free association technique. The patient is asked to express freely whatever comes in his mind. From his free expression, the psychoanalyst tries to discover the cause of his maladjustment and abnormal behavior. Number 2, dream analysis. Freud believed that our unfulfilled desires are fulfilled through dreams. By the analysis of one's dreams, the cause of his repression, conflicts and maladjustment can be discovered. Number 3, analysis of the daily psychopathology. It involves the patient's slip of tongue, pen and behavior and is quite capable of mirroring his unconscious mind. Merit of psychoanalytic method. Number 1, it can reveal the secrets of unconscious mind, hence disclosing the cause of psychological problem of client. Number 2, it helps in readjustment and re-establishment of mentally and emotionally disturbed personalities. Demerits of psychoanalytic method. Number 1, the method cannot work satisfactory with children, people of subnormal intelligence and in case of serious mental disorders. Number 2, It requires highly experienced and specially trained psychoanalysts. Number 4th is the clinical method. This method is primarily used to collect detailed information on the behavioral problems of maladjusted and deviant cases. The father of clinical psychology and clinical method is Latimer Whitmer of United States. It is he who coined the term clinical psychology and appraised the world about the clinical method. After him, psychologists like Sigmund Freud, Alfred Adler, and Carl Jung widely used and popularized the method. The main objective of the clinical method is to study individual case or cases of the group, to detect and diagnose their specific problem and to suggest therapeutic measures to rehabilitate them in their environment. So it is both a method of assessment of the behavioral problems as well as a method of their treatment. This method is generally used to know the cause and source of the people's fear, worries, frustrations, obsessions, their mental, emotional, social, educational and vocational maladjustment. Applications of clinical method. This method is applied when a person or group approach a psychologist with a psychological problem. The psychologist starts by getting a detailed account of the person's history, his family background, socio-cultural environment by interviewing the person, his family, etc. He also administers various psychological tests on the subject. After diagnosing the problem, psychologist applies various therapies to get his subject rid of the problem. The most important of the therapies is psychoanalysis, discovered and applied by Sigmund Freud. The main aim of this therapy is to release the latent anxiety, which is the base of most behavioral disorders, specifically neurosis. Merits of clinical method. This method can be applied to individuals alone as well as in groups and communities. Number 2, it acts as a supplement to the method of observation and experimentation. Demerits of clinical method. Number 1, data collected through this method is not considered scientific. Number 2, purpose of this method is limited only to diagnosis and modification of the behavioral aberrations of psychological origin. Number 5th method is genetic method. The genetic method traces the growth of mind and its functions. In a wider sense, it includes the evolution of mind in various stages of animal and human existence. But generally it is used in narrow sense. In this sense, it intends to study the growth of human mind from childhood to maturity. In this restricted sense, it takes two forms. One, the follow-up method, and second, the case study method. The follow-up method. The follow-up method follows up the growth of child and its mental faculties. It directly observes the child and his mental working, like his anger, fear, and cognitive abilities. As the child progresses step by step, the observer observes his progress time to time. Any improvement or deterioration of any mental and physical ability of the child is noted down along with the varying circumstances and the environment to which the subject is exposed. In this way, the growth of his psychophysical abilities are judged and predicted. Number 2, the case study method. Case study is in-depth study or analysis of a person, group or phenomena. The case study method deals with the emotional and mental state of an individual. This method is applied to study special behavioral problems of an individual by specially trained teachers, psychologists and psychiatrists. Through this method, total information of the family background, schooling and also social conditions of the individual is obtained. Hence, it can be called a cumulative record, which is of great help in understanding the source of an individual's fear, anxiety, worry or any kind of maladjustment. The main objective of this method is to help the individual adjust between the environment and gain self-confidence to attain higher levels of achievement. In a systematic case study, these types of data are generally recorded. Identification data including age, sex, caste, occupation, nationality and address. Physiological data including physical health and habits of a subject. Environmental data including socio-economic status, cultural environment, education, parents, peers. Psychological data including intelligence, interest, aptitude, personality. Steps in case study method. Different steps used in the case study method are: number 1, basic preliminary information about the subject, that is his name, age, sex, parents' age, education, occupation as well as social status. Number 2, proper physical checkup of the individual is done to ascertain whether his or her behavioral problem is due to any disease. Only in the absence of any physical ailment can psychological treatment start. Number 3, the subject should be very comfortable with the investigator while the latter takes the information. Number 4, the investigator must not tire the subject, instead regular intervals of rest should be given. Number 5, the behavior of the individual should be observed in natural setting and working conditions. Doing so will provide correct data. Number 6, special care must be taken in the post-treatment period so that there is no recurrence of the problem. Merits of case study method. It provides in-depth information about an individual and the root cause of the behavioral problem. It helps to provide guidance to modify the behavior of the subject. Demerits of case study method. Number 1, the investigator should be technically proficient to handle a case. There is a possibility of investigator of becoming involved with the problems of individual and therefore his diagnosis and counseling or other methods of treatment may not be effective. Number 3, the possibility of errors in understanding the problems as well as treatment is high. Number 6 is the testing method. Carefully devised tests are available in abundance to measure individuals' aptitude, achievement, intelligence and other personality traits. A test method is a definitive procedure that produces a test result. As per Gronlund, Norman E. and Robert L. Lynn, test is, quote, an instrument or systematic procedure for measuring a sample of behavior, unquote. The test results can be qualitative, yes, no, categorical or quantitative, a measured value. It can be a personal observation or the output of a precision instrument. Psychological tests are defined as standardized, repeatable procedures used to elicit a major sample of human behavior. Because testing involves measurement, tests have procedures for coding, scoring or quantifying the behavior that is elicited so that it can be compared with normative data systematically collected on similar samples. Testing is used to evaluate human abilities including intelligence, aptitude, skills and achievement in various areas. Personality characteristics which include traits, attitude, interest and values, and adjustment and mental health which involves detecting signs and symptoms of psychological and neurological problems. Some of the commonly used tests include R.B. Catel's 16 PF test of personality, Alfred Binet's test of intelligence, principles of psychological testing. While constructing a proper psychological test, the following principles are taken into consideration. Standardization, which means all procedures and steps must be conducted with consistency and under the same environment to achieve the same testing performance from those being tested. Objectivity, which means scoring is free of subjective judgment or biases based on the fact that the same results are obtained on tests from everyone. Test norms means the average test score within a large group of people where the performance of one individual can be compared to the result of other by establishing a point of comparison or a frame of reference. Reliability means obtaining the same result after multiple testing. Validity, which means the type of test being administered must measure what it is intended to measure. Merits of testing method. It is helpful in understanding the individual's personality, psychopathology, cognitive ability, etc. Number 2, it is used in school settings to determine who among the students require special help in terms of learning or counseling. Demerits of testing method. It is costly method of psychological assessment. The method is not useful if one is intended in assessing any specific aspect of a concept. Last is the survey method. A survey is a data collection tool used to gather information about individuals. Surveys are commonly used in psychology research to collect report data from study participants. The survey method gathers quantitative data on those thoughts, feelings and behaviors we have in common or on which we differ. The survey method asks a representative sample of people the same question about particular attitude, opinion, value, belief. If the sample is truly representative, this allows the generalization of results to the whole population from which the sample was drawn. Survey can be used on their own or without research methods such as the experiment, observation and the interview. A pilot survey is often conducted to allow this to occur. Survey questionnaires can be either open or closed. Open-end questionnaires give rise to open descriptive answers, while closed-end questionnaires restrict respondents' choice of answer. Characteristics of survey. Two main characteristics of survey method are: survey research involves selecting a sample or samples using a predetermined set of questions. Types of survey. Survey modes include surveys conducted by post, face-to-face, by telephone, video phones and through internet. Three methods for obtaining survey data are mail survey, personal interviews and telephonic interviews. Number 1, mail surveys. Although mail surveys are quick and convenient, they may have the problem of response bias when individuals fail to complete and return the survey. Due to the response bias, the final sample for a mail survey may not represent the population. Number 2, personal interview. Although costly, personal interviews allow researchers to gain more control over how the survey is administered. Interviewers' bias occurs when survey responses are recorded inaccurately or when interviewer guides individuals' responses. Third, telephone interviews. Despite some disadvantages, telephone interviews have become the method of choice for completing brief surveys. Uses of survey. Three main uses of survey that have been identified are: survey research is used to assess people's thought, opinion and feelings. Survey can be specific or limited in scope or more global in their goals. The best way to determine whether results of a survey are biased is to examine the survey procedure and analysis. How to design a good psychological survey. The following 5 principles should be kept in mind before designing a survey. Number 1, keep the language simple so that it is understood to each and every individual. Number 2, keep the questions short and on one issue. The longer a survey, the less likely folk will fill it in. Third, avoid technical terms as people will probably not know what you are talking about. 4, avoid leading questions. For example, have you stopped smoking, Ritu? Yes or no? Number 5, avoid emotive or moral questions. For example, have you ever had an abortion? Yes or no? Merits of survey method. Number 1. With survey softwares, advanced statistical techniques can be utilized to analyze survey data to determine validity, reliability, and statistical significance, including the ability to analyze multiple variables. A broad range of data can be collected, for example, attitudes, opinions, beliefs, values, behavior, factuals. Demerits of survey method. Number 1. Respondents may not feel encouraged to provide accurate, honest answers. Number 2. Survey with closed-end questionnaires may have a lower validity rate than other question types. Conclusion. A wide range of research methods are used in psychology. The most common research methods are interview method, observation, survey, testing method, clinical method, etc. These methods vary by the source of information that are drawn on, how that information is sampled, and the types of instruments that are used in data collection. The method to be used depend on the situation that is under consideration. Sometimes we use 2 or more methods at a time to make the data collected more authentic, reliable, and valid. For example, we use interview method to support survey, or we use a standardized test to support experimental method, etc.